Okay, students, today once again we are going to have the review of the poem The Twice, written by Coventry Patmore. Actually, this is totally a religious poem, and this is teaching two different or very important lessons to the human beings. What those points are, the very first thing is spiritual idea of mercy and forgiveness. As everybody knows that forgiveness is coming from the attributes of Allah Almighty. Allah Almighty likes forgiving. So that should be adopted by human beings too. Allah Pak forgives in every matter of life. But we human beings never try to forget that. We are always ready to be, vindictive, always ready to take revenge from others. So one thing is that spiritual idea of mercy and forgiveness. माफ़ी और रहम का जो एक कॉन्सेप्ट है रूहानियत वाला, वो अपने अंदर रखना चाहिए. एक तो इसका ये है. अच्छा बेटे, इस पोएम के साथ साथ दो चीज़ें, आपने एक टाइटल को देख लीजिए, द ट्वाइस. फ्रॉम द वेरी टाइटल इट लुक्स very childish, but it isn't a childish poem. Rather, it is giving a very thought-provoking idea. Number one, if you take this title from the child's perspective, a child's point of view, so this is representing what? Innocence. And if you are going to take this title from the adult's perspective or point of view, so it is showing about the worldly values. Now, what gonna happen in this poem, or what took place? Let me guide you. Very first thing, introduction. So in introduction, we will get information about this thing, that this is rather a discussion or a complete matter will take place between father and a son. What happened? The disobedience from the side of the child will take place. What happened when we started this poem? So we will definitely found that the father kept on calling his son. Almost many a times when he called, and the seventh time when he found that his son is ignoring him and walking just in front of him, ignoring the directive or the order of father. Thereupon the father got a bit angry and he could not control his emotions, and thereupon he scolded, rebuked his son. Why? Because he disobeyed his father. And that was the time when he not only scolded him, but also asked him to leave his room. And that day he did not kiss his son, because father in this poem is the only one who is going to look after his son. So son is all alone. So the son left the room and went to his bed and started sleeping. After a few moments, what happened when the complete issue took place? The son misbehaved, disobeyed, and the father adopted a very harsh attitude, scolded the son, asked him to leave the room. So then he realized that there is nobody to take care of my son. Who will ask him? Rather, he was a bit worried, anxious, curious, or rather I must say he was in the state of anxiety. So he was a bit, anxious. He was a bit in the state of anxiety. I have scolded my son. So what he was thinking, the father was thinking that my son may not be able to sleep just because of this harsh behavior of mine. So he decided to go to his room. So after a few minutes or moments, the father went to his son's room, whether he is sleeping or disturbed just because of my harsh attitude. So when he reached the room, what he found, the son was sleeping. He was enjoying his smooth slumber, but at the same time, his eyes were full of tears. The lashes were full of tears. So thereupon he realized that he kept on sleeping, or he slept sobbing, weeping bitterly. So thereupon father, took pity on his son and became a bit emotional. And when he kissed the cheek of his son, his own tears fell down on the cheek of his son. And thereupon he realized one very hidden reality, which is basically the aim of the poet, that my son did so because when he entered the room, so many toys were decorated beside him, and he was totally involved in these toys, and just because of these toys he was not able to respond to me. So those were just minor toys, but from the father's perspective, those were minor. But for the kid, those were really important because he collected those stones, coins, bottle, this and that things after taking great pain. So the son was taking great comfort in those toys. Rather, it was a comfort zone for the son, but not for the father. So it was showing his innocence because he was not aware of the fact that what these things are worthless, but for the kid, those things were far more superior. And that was the reason he he was compelled to ignore the directive of or the order of his father. So thereupon the father realized one very important fact, and that moment he prayed to God, realizing his own mistake. And what was the mistake? The mistake was that he said that now I am not in a good condition. I'm feeling just like a dead man who is not able to move here, there, or anywhere. But at the same time, he is of the opinion that I myself know the reality that there are so many toys in which we ourselves are involved so badly that we have forgotten your orders. And here the poet is diverting our attention towards the worldly values. Day and night we are just involved in worldly accumulation. Worldly accumulation का मतलब होता है दुनियावी चीजों को इकट्ठा करने में लगे हुए. We are just running behind money, car, bungalow, this thing, that thing. All the things are quite important. And the one who created us, that powerful personality, omnipotent, gave us a mandate of life too. And the mandate of life is just to follow the orders of Allah Almighty, and the orders are far more superior to anything in life. But we know this thing, but a very less amount of people accept this reality. Everybody knows that, yes, we should follow the direction. We should follow the orders of Allah Almighty because the orders are everything. If we do not follow, we will not be successful. So, day and night we are just running behind the worldly values, car, bangla, money, this thing, that thing, business. So all the time our all energies and capabilities are being spent by us on these things. So just because of these worldly values, we are neglecting, disobeying Allah Almighty. And the kid himself, he was involved in toys. He was so involved and engaged in these toys that he forgot to follow the orders of his father. Same is the case with that. So poet is of the opinion that, oh my Lord, you are not less than any father. But being a Muslim, you know very well, we know Allah loves us more than 70 mothers. So He knows what is good for us and what is bad for us. As the son took the toys so serious, the toys were of great importance for him. Same is the case with we human beings, I mean especially the adults who are sensible, who can differentiate between right and wrong. We know very well these things are temporary, but these things have no value in front of the orders of Allah Almighty. But even then we are not following. So here the father realized one thing. He realized that thing, that you always forgive us, although we are not following your orders and directions very sincerely and very properly. If my son has done so, I should not adopt it a very rude and harsh behavior in front of my son. Rather, I should have adopted a very calm and a very lenient attitude towards my son. Because if we are doing this thing, you are not punishing us, you are not adopting a very rude or a strict attitude. So why we human beings? So here he is asking for forgiveness. He's saying that you are forgiving us, so I also ask for forgiveness, what I did. So through this poem, from the very beginning till the end of the poem, we are going to get one thing, that we must have the instinct and the spark of word forgiveness, because everybody is puppet of mistakes. Everyone who is coming in this world, from the very beginning, he is not able to realize what this world is, what the worldly values are. But with the passage of time, the moment we start growing up, thereupon we start thinking that money is everything, wealth is everything, business is everything, car is everything, bungalows are everything. But thinking so and so and so and so, the most important thing, which is the order of Allah Almighty, we forget that. So Allah Almighty adopts a very nice and wonderful attitude towards us. He always forgives us. So forgiveness is coming out of from the personality of Allah Almighty. That should also be the part of our personality that we should seek, we should have, we should also have mercy on others. This is the core ideology of this poem. So I hope the message is very well conveyed. Even if you have any problem, you can ask the questions. Thank you. जी बेटा